dreamer, but my heart's of gold. I had a runaway.
Longevity travel is having a moment, and not in a tiny niche way. It's quickly becoming one of the hottest parts of wellness tourism. So today, we're going to map the whole landscape, where people are going, what they're doing there, and how you can tell the difference between a life-changing health trip and a very expensive week of vague promises. And we'll make it practical, because longevity can mean everything from walking a hillside village every morning to getting a 300-marker blood and biomarker assessment in a white coat clinic. Those are not the same vacation.
Exactly. Here's the headline that explains why this is exploding. A big majority of people now rank healthy aging as a top priority. And a similar share of American travelers say they're open to paying for vacations designed specifically to help them live longer. That's a psychological shift. People aren't just chasing relaxation anymore, they're chasing time.
But that raises the question, what does a vacation that extends your life even look like? Like, are we talking about spa water and inspirational quotes, or real medical interventions? It's both, and that's the key. Longevity travel has split into two lanes. Lane 1 is what I'd call blue zone immersion, learning from places where people live unusually long lives without turning you into a patient. Lane 2 is clinical longevity retreats, more diagnostics, more protocols, more measurable intervention. Two lanes, two vibes. One feels like you're adopting a lifestyle, the other feels like you're entering a program.
Right, and choosing the right lane is almost the whole game. So let's open with Lane 1. Blue zone immersion. Blue zones are those regions made famous for high concentrations of people living to 90 and 100, often with good quality of life. When you go there as a traveler, the point isn't to get fixed, it's to notice what a long life environment feels like and how the local rhythms shape health.
So you're not showing up to be measured and optimized, you're showing up to observe and absorb. Exactly. Take the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, one of the original blue zones. What's interesting is that Costa Rica has started to become a real hub for longevity travel. There are properties in Guanacaste, for example, that lean into the local nature. Cleaner air, thermal mineral pools, quiet forest spaces, bungalow-style lodging designed around sleep and recovery.
You're not getting a physician-led intake. You're getting an environment that nudges your nervous system into a healthier setting.
And that matters more than people think. Better sleep, more walking, natural daylight, fewer screens. It sounds simple, but simple doesn't mean easy at home. Then there's Sardinia in Italy, another classic blue zone. If you want the how do people actually live longer experience, you go to the hillier, more traditional areas. Ogliastra is often mentioned, with villages like Villagrande, Arzana, and Talana. The pattern there isn't a secret supplement stack.
It's movement built into the day, cooking with local produce, not overdoing meat, and a social structure that keeps elders connected to family and friends.
Which is huge because loneliness is increasingly being treated like a health risk factor, not just a feeling. That bridges perfectly to a modern twist, Singapore. Researcher Dan Buettner has called it Blue Zone 2.0, which is a really interesting label. Singapore's longevity story isn't about a rustic village lifestyle. It's more about intentional design, policy, and city planning that reduce friction for healthy habits. Like what? Give me an example that a traveler would actually notice.
Covered walkways that make walking realistic even when the weather isn't perfect. Food environments that highlight healthier options in everyday markets. And even policies that try to reduce social isolation, encouraging family systems to keep elderly relatives close, not separated. That's the built environment side of longevity. It's not glamorous, but it works.
So in Lane 1, the intervention is the place itself. Exactly. And other classic blue zone destinations people talk about include Okinawa in Japan, Ikaria in Greece, and Loma Linda in California. Each has its own flavor, but the common thread is lifestyle, movement, food patterns, purpose, connection.
You said purpose. And that reminds me, not every longevity trip is about food and steps. Some are built around meaning. Yes. And that's where a newer, purpose-driven angle comes in. For example, in Trinidad and Tobago, there are experiences designed around the idea that purpose is a major predictor of long life. That's consistent with Blue Zone's research. When people feel needed, when they have a reason to get up, their health behaviors and resilience tend to improve.
Lane 1 feels like, come home with a new model of how to live, not just a souvenir.
Perfectly said. Now Lane 2 is a different story. Clinical longevity retreats are built around measuring, intervening, and optimizing.
In this lane, you're not just visiting a destination, you're entering a clinical protocol. There are structured assessments, biomarker panels, diagnostics, and a personalized plan. And yes, pricing can be intense. Think in the range of tens of thousands for a week at the highest end places. So what are people paying for specifically? Because longevity retreat can be a marketing phrase. Totally fair. Let's anchor it in real examples. Switzerland is often treated as the gold standard for this category. Places like Clinique La Prairie, for instance, have been in this world for decades. They're known for deep medical assessments, hundreds of biomarkers, looking at things beyond the basics, including more specialized markers that many standard physicals don't touch. And Switzerland also has programs like Chenopalus near Lake Lucerne, right? That style tends to be structured, minimum stay intensity, more about measurable physiological change.
Yes. Those programs typically require you to commit to the process, often at least a week, because the method is designed as a sequence, not a buffet.
Okay, so Switzerland is the clinical tradition meets luxury lane leader. What about elsewhere in Europe? Spain is a major player with Aisha Wellness Clinic near Alicante. One reason Shaw stands out is that it blends Western medical approaches with Eastern therapies, and it's known for longevity programs that can include genetic testing and advanced diagnostics. It's also expanded internationally, which tells you demand is there. And then you've got the gut health heavyweights. Exactly. Austria and Germany are known for Lanzerhof, which has a strong reputation around metabolic recovery and digestive health. It blends modern diagnostics with traditions like the Meyer cure, often involving fasting elements, gut cleansing approaches, and a big focus on improving digestion. Italy has a presence here too, right? Not just spa in the mountains, but actual programs. Yes. In the Dolomites, Adler Spa Resort offers an adults-only setting with a longevity program that combines preventive medicine, detox therapies, personalized fitness, and a massive spa footprint. And Palazzo Fuji is another name that comes up frequently in the European longevity circuit. What about Asia? Because some of the best wellness hospitality in the world is there.
Thailand is a key destination. Chiva Som in Hua Hin is often treated like a long-running benchmark. It mixes traditional therapies with a modern diagnostic layer. It's not always as extreme as the most intensive Swiss protocols, but it can still be very structured. And if someone wants to stay closer to home in the US,
you see a few different models. One is the membership style, diagnostics forward approach. Fountain Life is a big example, with locations across multiple states. They emphasize comprehensive diagnostics and data-driven insight, including AI-supported analysis to catch risk early, sometimes long before symptoms show up. And then there are places that blend science-backed longevity programming with more classic wellness retreat energy.
yes, Canyon Ranch is a strong example, with structured programs that mix diagnostics and lifestyle protocols aimed at reducing age-related disease risk. You also see high-end options like Sensei Lani in Hawaii, and intensity-focused programs like the Ranch in Malibu and Hudson Valley.
Now let's talk value, because not everyone can or wants to drop Swiss clinic money. That's where places like Mexico come in. For example, there are clinics in Cabo that are positioning themselves as high diagnostics, AI-supported longevity programs with comprehensive imaging and broad biomarker testing, often at a friendlier price point than Europe.
And the Middle East has been pushing into the biohacking frontier too, Dubai and Abu Dhabi especially, where you'll see regenerative and stem cell-focused offerings inside ultra-luxury hotel settings.
Yes, and that's exciting and also a category where you need extra discernment because the marketing can move faster than the evidence.
So, if I book a clinical longevity stay, what happens day to day? Paint the picture.
Here's the most important mindset shift. You're not just checking into a hotel room. You're essentially being admitted into a plan. It usually opens with a comprehensive assessment, blood work, potentially DNA analysis, body composition scans, sometimes cognitive testing, and a deep consultation where they lay out a kind of health blueprint. Then your days get scheduled. Mornings often start with personalized movement that matches your current capacity. Some programs adjust workouts based on energy and recovery data. Midday usually revolves around nutrition therapy. Meals aren't just healthy, they're designed to target goals and biomarkers. Afternoon is when you see the menu of interventions, things like IV nutrient therapy, hyperbaric oxygen, cryotherapy, or red light therapy depending on the clinic. Evenings commonly focus on sleep optimization and sometimes cognitive or stress resilience workshops.
And the deliverable isn't just you feel better, it's data.
Exactly. Most of these places end with a longevity roadmap. Your baseline metrics, what changed, and what you're supposed to keep doing at home. The good ones make aftercare part of the program, not an afterthought. Which brings us to the consumer protection piece. Because anytime you mix medicine, luxury, and big price tags, you need a checklist. Yes. Let's talk about what to watch for. First, transparency in diagnostics. A credible program can tell you which tests are running, why they matter, and how the results are interpreted. If it's just a long list of impressive-sounding biomarkers without context, That's a red flag. People sometimes call it biomarker inflation. More tests doesn't always mean better insight. Second, data privacy. When you're doing wearables, lab work, imaging, where does that information live? Who owns it? Who can access it later? Third, claims versus evidence. Be extremely cautious of miracle language. If something sounds too good to be true, ask for published support, references, or at least a clear explanation of what's known and what's experimental. And fourth, aftercare. If they hand you a binder and wave goodbye, that's not a longevity plan, that's a souvenir. Exactly. Also, medication policies matter. Any conversations about hormones or GLP-1 medications, anything prescription grade, should be led by qualified clinicians with clear disclosure and never framed like a casual add-on. Okay, we've toured both lanes. Now the big question, how does someone choose? Think of it like a gut check. What are you actually after? If you want to feel different, slower pace, fewer inputs, better sleep, learning habits you can copy at home, Blue Zone Immersion is often the best fit. Sardinia, Nicoya, Icaria, places where longevity is built into the culture. If you want hard data and measurable intervention, a reset you can quantify, then the European clinic model might be what you're looking for. The Swiss heavyweights, Shaw, Lanzerhof, Chino, those are designed to assess and act.
And if someone wants luxury hospitality with just a light medical layer, something that feels like a vacation, but still nudges them in a healthier direction,
then you're looking at that hybrid space. High-end wellness resorts with some diagnostics and coaching layered in. And if you want a repeatable US-based model, something you can do again and again, membership-style clinics and established wellness resorts can make sense. Finally, if someone wants real clinical depth but is price-sensitive, they'll often look at options in places like Mexico or a structured Asian program like Chiva Sam, depending on what they prioritize.
Now, I want to land this with one more layer because a lot of our listeners work with, live with, or care for people who are 62 and up. And here's the truth. For many seniors, the gentler lane is often the smarter lane.
Because not everyone needs or can tolerate a week of intense detox protocols and constant interventions.
Exactly. Many older adults will get massive benefit from trips that normalize daily walking, improve sleep, reduce stress, increase social connection, and rebuild a sense of purpose. Blue Zone travel is powerful because it's less about fixing what's broken and more about returning to what humans have always needed. And if someone does want the medical layer, programs with a lighter touch, places like Canyon Ranch, Shiva Sam, or Shaw, can be a more realistic entry point than the most high-intensity clinics.
So here's the resolution of today's story. Longevity travel isn't one thing, it's two distinct paths. One path says, let's get you into a place where healthy living is the default. The other says, let's measure you, find risks early, and build a protocol. Both can be valuable if you pick the lane that matches your body, your goals, your budget, and your appetite for intervention. And maybe the simplest question to end on is this. Do you want to come home with new numbers? Or do you want to come home as a new version of your daily self?
Because that answer will usually tell you where to book.
Please subscribe at IamHealthyMoney.com and visit us at Q&A with Kim Enray on YouTube. It would mean so much more than you know. I will continue to bring you fascinating subjects with all the research so you don't have to do it all alone. We will learn together. And then wait until the end of each video for a sneak peek into the next research project. Life has its ups and downs, but you're not alone.
From 10 to 110, we're in this together, right here, right now.
We love ya.
Just set me free. Oh.